Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Analysis for UPSC 2025. It is 27th July today, and we are going to discuss 7 important articles in the Hindu newspaper. You know, every day we bring up this video in which we discuss the current news analysis. We discuss the most important articles which are relevant to your exam. We try to break them down into the simplest language so that it would be easy for you guys to understand it and get the most information from these articles. And also with this video in the evening or during night session we upload another video which is related to the daily quiz, in which we discuss the questions related to the current affairs so that it would help you revise the current affairs and also give you an idea how those questions could be asked in the exam. And also we discuss previous year questions in that video. So without any delay, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends. And please do stay with me, watch the full video. I am sure you would definitely like it. Now let's see what are the topics which we have to discuss today. The first one, it is about governor's role. Question being asked in the Supreme Court that the governors are interfering into the state legislature. The governor's office is used by the central government, so we misuse it by the central government, so we will discuss about it. Then the another article, it is about the BIMSTEC. We had discussed this topic earlier. Now it was again in the newspaper. We will discuss it again. Now the third topic is about the data privacy for children. We will discuss about it in detail. Then the fourth topic, it is about the European Union transferred frozen assets of Russia to Ukraine to fund their war. So let's see what will happen. Then the fifth, it is about royal burial mound of the Ahem dynasty. We had discussed about it earlier. It got the World Heritage list. It got added into that. So we will see more about it. Then the sixth article, it is about India-US signed agreement to protect cultural heritage. And finally the seventh article, it is about US authorities. They were successful in arresting narco smugglers in Mexico. Now let us start out by the first video. By the first article, it is about how SC to examine if governors are diluting the federalism, if they are interfering into the state's legislature, into the state's legislature matters. Usually when there are different political parties ruling the center and different in states, so usually the states who have different political parties, rather मतलब कि दूसरी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज अगर स्टेट्स में हो एज कम्पेयर टू अगर सेंटर में फॉर एग्जांपल अभी बीजेपी है and in different states they have different political parties, and if they are not allies of each other, then the states often blame that center is misusing its powers, center is interfering into the matters of the state, or they even say that center is मतलब कि वो हमें कम ही दो नजरें कर रहे हैं, मतलब कि सेंटर इज discriminating us because we are not belonging, we don't belong to that political party, so center is discriminating our state. So these are continuous allegations against the center by the states. But the here question is मतलब कि अगर हम देखेंगे the role of the governor, it has been questioned not now but since very long, that governor is interfering into the matters of the state. And it is also said that मतलब कि जो ये गवर्नर का ऑफिस है, it is used by the center, misused by the center. मतलब कि अगर कोई बिल पास करनी हो तो गवर्नर interferes into the matters of the state, मतलब वो withheld करता है for the longer time duration, और फिर वो unnecessarily it sends its recommendation to the president, and also president has to abide by the cabinet, by the union ministers, by the cabinet. So it is not so the bill gets delayed unnecessarily and the functioning of the state legislature gets delayed. So this is the continuous blame from the states. With this respect, the government of Kerala, they went to SC Supreme Court with this allegation, and finally the Supreme Court accepted it, and SC will now examine that if governors are diluting federalism of the country. Now in this respect we have to understand the what is the role of the governor. We have to understand that. For that we have to understand the federal structure of our country. you know we have to understand what is federal structure, what is the jurisdiction, where does the jurisdiction of center where is the jurisdiction of center, where how the jurisdiction of state plays, and when can center interfere in the jurisdiction of state. Only in those extreme conditions, whether the states are they are violating the constitution, there the center can interfere, or if there is some extreme emergency, then by the permission of states, even by the permission of states, they can interfere. This is another some different topic here. Now let us see where are the places center usually interferes by the office of the governor. It is usually at it is usually at the passage of bills. There the center interferes by the office of the governor. मतलब कि वो passage of bills, it delays the passage of the bills by not giving its accent directly, by holding it, because it has some, the governor has some powers given by the constitution. So by using those powers, the center is misusing its powers. These are the allegations from the center, from the states. And also if we would see मतलब कि अगर हम देखेंगे now here, if we have to discuss about the federalism, then we definitely have to discuss about the 7th schedule. In 7th schedule, we know in the last class also we discussed about there are 3 lists: union list, which is reserved for the parliament, then we have state list reserved for the state assembly, and the concurrent list where both the state and center can make laws. But if the both center makes law and a state makes law and they contradict, then the center's law will prevail. It is under the article 246. Then we also have the residuary powers, which are beyond beyond these 3 lists. For example, union list, state list, and concurrent list. All those items which are beyond these 3 lists are come under the residuary powers, and that lies with the center. The few constitutional powers which are said to be misused by the governor are under article 200. We should know that power of a governor to provide assent to the bill, grant assent or withhold, and for withholding there is no time period determined how long he can withhold this. This could be misused. This is where the governor misuses it. He withholds the assent for the longer duration, or he can reserve the bill for the president, which is under article 201. He can also return the bill as well, asking them to reconsider. But if he reserves this bill under article 201 for the president, then we also know that the president has to do, president will be guided by the aid and advice of the council of ministers, which is under article 74. So in this way the functioning of the state legislature gets diluted. It erodes the lawmaking powers of the state assembly, even on subjects which are in the state list, and office of the governor is getting misused by the center. So with this respect, the blame was Kerala government went to the Supreme Court, and they finally agreed to look into this matter. So right now, let's see what the gist of our discussion right now is. If we will try to break this into simpler words, हमने देखा है कि the functioning of the federalism, जहाँ पे मतलब कि states have their own powers, center has its own powers. There is least interference from the center in the states, but there are some provisions in the constitution where in the center can impact its rule, impact its interference into the state lists. One of that is the office of the governor. It is said that the governor, he is the political agent of the center. So whenever there is मतलब कि उसके खिलाफ allegation लगती है कि he delays the process of state legislatures, मतलब कि कोई बिल पास करनी हो, चाहे वो कितनी ही छोटी सी बिल हो, चाहे वो कितनी ही local bill ho, तो governor withholds his assent for the longer duration, or he will send it to the president, and president has to do according to the aid and advice of the council of ministers. So in this way the federalism of the country gets diluted. So what is now the question is, what are the solutions to it? We have different commissions formed for this discussion. We have Sarkaria Commission and Punchi Commission. They had given their recommendation with respect to this. What did they say? They said only in rare cases of unconstitutionality, then the governor should hold the bill. अगर कोई rare case हो unconstitutionality का, ऐसा लगे कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कोई ऐसी चीज ला रहा है जो अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हो, then only the governor should withhold the bill. Otherwise, it should directly give assent to it. And also, they should, governor should not exercise their power in regular bills, as I already said. And also they should discharge their function for aid and advice of the council of minister of the state. Matlab ki they have to discharge their functions on the aid, and governor has to discharge their function on the aid and advice of the council of ministers of the state. So that if this thing happens, if मतलब कि अगर वो गवर्नर सिर्फ कोई ऐसी चीज़, कोई ऐसा प्रोविजन कोई बिल का हो जो अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हो, सिर्फ वही चीज़ विद होल्ड करे या प्रेसिडेंट को रिकमेंड करे, बाकी चीज़ों को एक्सेंट दे आसानी से, तो वर्किंग ऑफ द लेजिस्लेचर विल बी फाइन, दो वर्किंग ऑफ द फेडरलिज्म विल नॉट गेट डाइल्यूटेड. और दूसरी बात जो सरकारिया कमीशन में मेंशन थी, वो दिस मतलब वो क्या है, बिल्स शुड बी पास्ड विद इन 6 months बाय गवर्नर, और it should be decided by the governor within the 6 months. मतलब क्या withhold करोगे, मतलब कि after 6 months, within 6 months the decision should be given regarding the bill by the governor. मतलब 6 months से ज़्यादा वो अपने पास नहीं रखना चाहिए इसको. So there should be a time period till how much time the governor should withhold the bill. But unfortunately, none of these provisions had been brought yet. So there is more understanding to happen more. Now let us see what the Supreme Court judgment would say regarding this. So this would be the news for the future. Now moving forward to the another topic of today's discussion, it talks about the BIMSTEC. We should know BIMSTEC, it came by the Bangkok Declaration in 1997. For some many years it was not that much active, because the members were not, अगर हम देखेंगे in simpler terms, जो members इसके थे वो they were not that much recognized. और India's जो interest था, India's interest in BIMSTEC was not that मतलब कि उतना interesting, मतलब India was not that much interested in BIMSTEC. But after few years, when Pakistan started Pakistan sponsored terrorism increased in India, and finally it reached its zenith when we saw the Uri attacks in India in 2016. Finally India started to get away, मतलब कि उनकी इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के रिलेशंस तब से almost खत्म हुई है from the Uri attacks. And also जो India was focused on SAARC, but in SAARC we see that Pakistan is also there. तो पाकिस्तान used to मतलब interfere very badly in SAARC, और उससे इंडिया का impact decision making पे impact आता था. And after 2016, when the Uri attacks happened, India almost quit SAARC conferences. और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, India put its focus on BIMSTEC, and it is said that it is now the BIMSTEC is the SAARC minus Pakistan. About the BIMSTEC, it is about BIMSTEC, so we can say that in 2016 it was revived by India and actually founded in 1997 after the Bangkok Declaration. It is about BIMSTEC. It is a Bay of Bengal initiative. We discussed about this in detail in our previous videos also this month itself. So I would try to take up important points which are necessary in this discussion. So it is the Bay of Bengal initiative. It is the regional grouping. We discussed about the revival of revived by India in 2016. How India sidelined SAARC. It is said that BIMSTEC is SAARC minus Pakistan. And also we knew about it. It came after the Bangkok Declaration in 1997, it is very important for Indo-Pacific region, because the Bay of Bengal lies in the heart of the Indo-Pacific, so it is very important for the Indo-Pacific region. And also about the BIMSTEC, we should know some important points, that in 2022 BIMSTEC charter was adopted in Colombo summit. We should know which summit the charter was adopted. Such questions may come in the exam, and in this charter 7 sectors were identified, and each country was given a separate sector. For example, for Bangladesh, trade was given; for India, security; for Myanmar, agriculture; for Nepal, people to people contact; for Sri Lanka, science and technology; and for Thailand, connectivity was given. And also in this, now there are regular meets of the at the ministerial level in the BIMSTEC, and we had seen there is a priority sector for India, that is BIMSTEC Agreement on Maritime Transport Corporation. It is the priority sector for India. So there would be much to discuss in next classes about the BIMSTEC Agreement on Maritime Transport Corporation. So this was a little information which was required here about the BIMSTEC. We had already discussed it in our previous classes also. Now let us see what will come, what more we have to discuss in upcoming classes. I am very sure about BIMSTEC Agreement on Maritime Transport Corporation we would have to take up a separate discussion on this issue. Now moving forward, another topic, it is about the data privacy of children. Children are most vulnerable to the crimes, in every way, whether it would be from the adults, whether it would be sexual exploitation, whether it would be financial exploitation, whether it would be drug trafficking, whether it would be anywhere. You see the crime, that crime can easily affect the children. So similarly, the data privacy is a concern, one of the concern for children, especially for school going children. Here in our country there are lakhs of schools in our country, and they are collecting the lots of data from the children about their personal data, their Aadhaar numbers, their phone information, their credits, how much their academic information, their personal identity, everything is collected by them. So, and we also know that these minor children may be targeted by this cyber criminals if this data gets leaked. So this is very important to secure this data. With this, Ministry of Education, they had brought up UDISE plus, which is in 2018, which is Unified District Information for School Education. In it, the lot of data is collected by Ministry of Education about the school infrastructure, regarding teachers, regarding their qualification, regarding academic performance of students, all that. It is one site, one initiative where this information is collected. And also there is another initiative, which is APAR, which is abbreviated as Automated Permanent Academic Accord Registry Identification, abbreviated as APAR. It is it gives a unique identifier of a given, it gets the unique gives a unique identifier of a given student. What Ministry of Education has decided to join these, to combine the UDISE plus and APAR, so that it will help the policy makers in a better way, because it will give them the idea what is the need of the time, what are the needs in the schools, what is the need in the infrastructure, what is the need in appointing the teachers, how many female teachers are required, where did the students lack, what are they lacking, what is the problem behind it. So in a way, it is very good initiative by the Ministry of Education to combine them, to it will definitely help them in framing the policies. But here is a concern, because this information is controlled by the DigiLocker, and and here the concern of the right to privacy of a children comes, and it is said that the government has to take very clean actions to store this information, to not give this information into the hands which can violate the privacy. About the right to privacy, we should know that it is a fundamental right under the KV Pathuswamy judgment. It was declared as a fundamental right, and in some cases, privacy of anybody can be violated by the government if there is a threefold test for that. What is that threefold test? First one, there should be a legitimate state interest behind it. मतलब कि अगर बच्चों का कोई इंफॉर्मेशन लिया जाता है बाय द कंपनी और बाय द गवर्नमेंट, सो देयर शुड बी द स्टेट इंटरेस्ट बिहाइंड इट कि अगर गवर्नमेंट को फंड्स देने होंगे तो बच्चों का आधार कार्ड तो चाहिए. गवर्नमेंट शुड नो अगर कोई स्कॉलरशिप प्रोग्राम देना हो तो दे शुड नो अबाउट द marks, academic performance of a children. So there should be a legitimate state interest behind it, and also restrictions should be necessary. मतलब कि कितना वो restrict कर रहे हैं, कितनी चीज मतलब कि regarding other issues कि जितना वो privacy को restrict कर रहे हैं, मतलब कि it is given by these threefold tests is given by the K.S. Pathuswamy case brought out by the Supreme Court. So restrictions should be necessary, मतलब कि कितनी restrictions हो उनका necessary भी होना ज़रूरी है, and it should be proportional to achieve the interest. Restrictions has to be backed by the law. मतलब कि proportionate. For example, अगर किसी जगह हम identify करने हैं terrorist को, and for that they cannot take the information of a whole village, but if few people are the prime suspects of terrorism, then we can take the personal information of those people only. So this talks about the proportionate to achieve the interest. So how much data you are taking, it should be the proportionate to achieve the interest. मतलब कि ज़्यादा ही data नहीं लेना है. So this was about the data privacy of children, and we should also know what it is said that data sharing policy in education should be brought in line with the law. So with this we complete about the data privacy of children. I hope you would had understood it easily. In this you have to remember about UDI SE plus and UPAR. About UDI SE plus, it is a unified district information for school education initiative in which lots of data is collected by Ministry of Education, and UPAR, it is an automated permanent academic account registry identification. So you should know about that. Now forward we have another article. It talks about the European Union, how they transferred frozen assets, Russian assets to Ukraine. After the Russia-Ukraine war, there were restrictions on Russia, started sanctions from US, and EU started on Russia, and money assets of Russia were frozen by the European Union and US. And with this, now the European Union started, they decided to, transfer. They in fact actually transferred the Russian assets, Russian frozen assets to Ukraine, and the amount comes close to 1.5 billion euros. And what is the reason for this transfer of assets? It is said to fund the Ukraine war, to help Ukraine in this war, and to compensate the infrastructural loss which Ukraine has gone through. But it will have, I guess, devastating effect, because Russia will not take it lightly. Russia will respond. So this is the news for another discussion. Now moving forward, we have another topic here. It is about the royal burial mounds of Ahom dynasty. We discussed about it. It got its place in the UNESCO's World Heritage List. By this, we have now 43 Indian sites in World Heritage List, and it is the only cultural site in Northeast. About royal burial mounds of Ahom dynasty, it belonged to the Ahom dynasty, which ruled over Assam during medieval times, and their burial, they converted into Hinduism in the 18th century, and they started burying in the Indian, मतलब how Hindus do after incarnation, after burning the body, and the remainings of the body are buried there. So this site is given the World Heritage Site. It is the 43rd Indian site, and we should know it is the first cultural site. About the types of UNESCO's lists, we should know we have three types of lists. Which first one is natural heritage sites, then another is cultural, and the third type is a mixture of natural and cultural. So this was about the royal burial mounds of Ahom dynasty. It got the World Heritage Site, UNESCO's World Heritage List, 43rd list, first cultural in Northeast. Now moving forward, we have another topic to discuss here. It is about India and US signed an agreement to protect cultural heritage. About cultural property, this is a cultural property agreement. We had seen the cases of cultural artifacts are stolen and they are transferred, through illegal means to different countries, and where they are auctioned. This is a huge loss for the home country. These cultural artifacts, these antique pieces are very important for the cultural history. They don't have any value. They are valueless. They are so precious that you can't define the value for that. You can't buy those things. But unfortunately, they are trafficked to the western markets, and where they are sold in millions, and it is a significant loss of cultural heritage of the particular country. With respect to that, India and US signed an agreement to protect the cultural heritage. In this agreement, US will help India in returning such artifacts back to the country, and stopping this antique trafficking. Will try to put end to this antique trafficking. This was about India and US signed an agreement to protect cultural heritage. I hope I was able to clear this to you. Now moving forward, the another and the last article of today's discussion. It is about the Mexico and drugs. The drug industry in Mexico is very huge, and this drug industry leads to other criminal activities like arms trafficking, murders. We had seen a rise of terrorism, the rise of narco terrorism, and this has violated the peace of the country. So in this regard, US authorities, they had done a successful operation. What they did, there is a gang, a cartel, namely Senlo cartel, which was founded by El Moyo and El Chipo. Last year they had arrested the El Chipo, and now they had arrested El Moyo and the son of El Chipo. Now a kind of, and they were the owners of this Sinaloa cartel, and it is kind of an end to it. And this is the huge success for the US authorities, because this drug trafficking is very bad for the society. It impacts the society in the worst way. And with respect to India, we have two regions in the west. We have Golden Crescent. In Golden Crescent, we have Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan. Lot of drugs are made there, and that is shipped to India by illegal means. And in the east, we have Golden Triangle, and in the Golden Triangle we have Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. There lots of drugs are transferred to India. So India is sandwiched in between these two areas where this drug trafficking is at its peak. So this is the issue of the current world right now, drugs, and this has a socio-economic issue. People, usually youth, gets affected by it, and it spoils the youth of the country, and finally impacts the economy of the country. So with this, we completed our discussion today. So let us give a final look what are the topics which we discussed today. The first topic which we discussed was about the acid to examine if governors are subverting federalism. If governors are diluting the federalism, usually opposition rule status, there is a tug of war between governor and state. With respect to that, we discussed Article 246. With respect to the seventh schedule, we discussed Article 200, power of a governor to provide assent to withheld or to reserve the bill for the president, which is in Article 2201. And also we discussed about the Sarkaria Commission report and what are the recommendation given in it. Then after we discussed the BIMSTEC, we discussed about its charter being signed in 2000 22. We discussed about the 7 sectors identified: trade, security, agriculture, people to people contact, science and tech, and connectivity, and each sector is controlled by a member state. Also, we discussed about the priority sector for India, that is BIMSTEC Agreement on Maritime Transport Corporation. Then we discussed about the data privacy of children. We discussed about UDISC, which is Unified District Information for School Education, and we discussed about APAR, which is Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry Identification. So we discussed about them. We discussed about the threefold test given by the KS Pathuswamy case, and we discussed about European Union transferred Russia's frozen assets to the Ukraine. We discussed about the royal burial mounds of the Ahom dynasty, the first cultural list in Northeast in UNESCO. We discussed about India US signed an agreement to protect cultural heritage, and also we discussed about the narco-terrorism and drug trafficking in Mexico, how US authorities achieved success in arresting the leaders of the Sinaloa cartel. So with this we complete our discussion. I hope you would like this, and I hope you would share this with your friends. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much.